He wants to play defense. He is a very good perimeter defender. He can rebound the basketball. He's very, very unselfish. He can run your offense. He's increased his three-point shooting every year since he's been in the NBA. He's gotten better and better.
But like I said, watching the game, I was watching Zoe do his thing, and I love watching him. It was just a joy to watch him play. And just like basketball, you got to understand the good with the bad.
Here's Zoe going and throwing it down! Come on!
Lonzo Ball, arguably the most talented of the Ball brothers and the supposed reincarnation of the legendary Magic Johnson. Yet, 5 seasons into his NBA career, his most significant achievement was getting drafted by the Lakers. Other than that, Lonzo's time in the league has been defined by occasional flashes of brilliance and recurrent injuries that almost forced him into retirement in his mid-20s. But after an extended period on the sidelines, there seems to be a glimpse of hope for the talented point guard. Yes, you heard that right. Lonzo Ball is back to full health, and he's looking to shake off the injury-prone tag and justify the hype that preceded his arrival into the league in 2017. Lonzo Anderson Ball was born on the 27th of October 1997 into a basketball family. His parents, LeVar and Tina Ball, played the game up to the college level. Beyond their career as former Hoopers, LeVar and Tina are big fans of basketball, which probably explains why Lonzo was introduced to the game at the age of 2. As he grew older, Lonzo idolized LeBron James and definitely took some inspiration from his game. And based on his electric performances in high school, you could have been tempted to believe all the hype surrounding him. I mean, just listen to this controversial take by LeVar.
Are you saying Lonzo better than LeBron?
Yes!
Bossy.
As a freshman, Lonzo averaged 25 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists, 5 blocks, and 5 steals as a junior at Chino Hills. The next season, he led the team to the state title while averaging 24 points, 11 rebounds, and 12 assists per game. In recognition of his outstanding performances throughout the season, he was voted Mr. Basketball USA and was named the Naismith Prep and Morgan Wooten Player of the Year. Most scouting platforms, including ESPN and Rivals.com, ranked him as a consensus 5-star recruit and the 4th overall player in the 2016 class. Following this hugely successful stint in high school, Lonzo committed to UCLA. There he showcased his skill set, establishing himself as one of the best young hoopers in the country. His creativity and passing skills were particularly impressive as he transformed the Bruins into the best offensive team in the country. But he wasn't just a facilitator, he was also a solid scorer who knew the perfect balance between passing it to others and taking his own shot. Scoring 19 points against Pacific on his debut, and just a few weeks later dropping 22 points against the Washington Huskies with over 12 NBA executives watching in the crowd. By the end of the season, he was averaging 15 points, 8 assists, and 6 rebounds, a remarkable stat line that hadn't been matched since Jason Kidd's 1993-94 magical run. Deservedly, Lonzo Ball was voted as the Pac-12 Freshman Player of the Year and named a unanimous first-team All-American. However, his season ended on a disappointing note as UCLA was eliminated by Kentucky in the Sweet 16. Lonzo suffered a hamstring injury in that game, but he remarkably carried on, playing through pain and contributing 10 points and 8 assists. For UCLA fans, it was a devastating way to end a promising season, but they were dealt an even bigger blow after the game.
This said, you're one and done. Is this it for you?
Yeah, that was my final game for UCLA, and appreciate all the fans and all the support.
At this point, Lonzo was already one of the most exciting talents in the pool, but as soon as he declared for the NBA, his father made sure the hype around Zoe never died. With every airtime he got, LeVar Ball reminded us of his son's talent and how he was coming to dominate the league.
You think he can be as good as Steph Curry in the NBA?
Heck no! He's gonna be better than Steph Curry in the NBA.
Most people bought the hype, not necessarily because of LeVar's comments, but because Lonzo Ball was indeed an incredible talent. Draft Express called him a 5-tool guard, while the analysts at Sports Illustrated said he has as much upside as anyone in the class. Bear in mind that this was a pool that had the likes of Jason Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, Bam Adebayo, and De'Aaron Fox in it. Yet, the scouts unanimously predicted that Lonzo would be a top 3 pick, and they were absolutely right. On draft night, he he was selected by the Lakers as the second overall pick, marking the beginning of an intriguing NBA career, one filled with sparks of magic and, unfortunately, plenty of injuries. Unsurprisingly, Lonzo came into the league with a lot of fanfare and high expectations. You had guys comparing his debut with LeBron's arrival, and Lakers president of basketball operations at the time, Magic Johnson, said he was the new face of the franchise and the guy that would lead them back to where we want to go. Yeah, that was how much belief and faith the entire city of Los Angeles had in a 19-year-old Lonzo Ball. And in the early days, the potential was definitely there. I mean, he won MVP at the Summer League after averaging 16 points, 8 rebounds, and 9 assists per game. One night later, Lonzo was back on the court running the show against the New Orleans Pelicans with 8 points, 8 rebounds, and 13 assists. He became the youngest player in franchise history to record at least 10 assists and the 5th NBA rookie to record multiple triple-doubles within their first 20 games in the league. For context, the only other players to achieve this feat are Ben Simmons, Magic Johnson, Connie Hawkins, Art Williams, and Oscar Robertson. That's certainly good company to be in, and anyone who saw Lonzo in his element at the time could have sworn that he was destined for greatness. The brother was literally an offensive Swiss Army knife, with the ability to facilitate the team's offense in so many different ways. His creativity and flashy playmaking were elite, and his court vision was on a whole different level. It was the best possible start he could have asked for, but as we went further into the season, his injury worries began to surface. It started mildly with the sprained left shoulder that kept him out of action during the Christmas festivities. He returned shortly after and played 6 games, but on the 13th of January 2018, he got injured again. This time it was the medial collateral ligament in his left knee, and from then on, he went from one injury to another. These injury setbacks meant he couldn't play in the Rising Stars game even though he was selected, and by the time the season ended, he had missed a total of 30 games. Yet nobody could really accuse him of having a bad rookie season. I mean, he was averaging 10 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists per game. He was also named to the NBA All-Rookie Second Team. Despite some early injury worries in the 2018-2019 season, Zoe found his rhythm. He remained an elite playmaker, as we had seen in his rookie season, but more importantly, he formed a telepathic relationship with his teammates, especially LeBron James. The game against the Charlotte Hornets in December highlighted how lethal the Lakers could be when both were at their best. Each of them scored triple-doubles to lead the Lakers to a 128-100 win. As a result, they became the first teammates to each achieve a triple-double in a game since Jason Kidd and Vince Carter did it back in 2007. Lakers fans were hoping and dreaming that this combination would yield more wins and perhaps even a championship, but unfortunately, that wasn't the case. Lonzo's injury problems resurfaced again, ultimately limiting his playing time to just 47 games across the entire season. Eventually, the franchise decided to move on from Lonzo. Despite his promising talent, they traded him to the Pelicans. By now, the criticisms had started to come in, and it wasn't just about his frequent injuries. I mean, that in itself was a big problem, but there was something else about his game that really got analysts worried.
The jury is still out. What I am seeing with my eyes, I am not impressed. His shot is awful.
To be honest, Lonzo had never been a great scorer. Sure, in high school his scoring was off the charts, but once he got to college it was clear this wasn't going to be his role. His poor shooting became much more obvious once he entered the league. In the 2 seasons he spent with the Lakers, Lonzo was shooting 43% from the field and 32% from outside the three-point line, which ranks among the worst shooting efficiency in league history. But since he moved to the Pelicans, he's been trying to rebuild that broken shot, and the results have been quite encouraging. In the 2019-2020 season, he averaged 12 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists per game while shooting 40.3% from the field and 37.5% from outside the arc. Statistically, this is one of the best seasons of his career, but guess what? His performance in the 2020-2021 season was even better. Going into the season, Lonzo was the healthiest he's ever been, and coach Stan Van Gundy decided to use him differently, this time as a 3-and-D type of guard. This was where everything changed for Zoe. He absolutely owned his role and became a more effective player on the court. That season, he scored a career-high 33 points not once, but twice, and at the end of the season, he was averaging 15 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists per game while shooting 41% from the field and 39% from downtown. This was by far his most productive season, but his career was about to take yet another turn. Despite repeatedly emphasizing that he was happy to remain with the team, Lonzo was traded to the Chicago Bulls in August 2021, and it looked like a real bargain at the time, at least in his first 35 games for the franchise. Zoe looked like a completely reborn player, averaging 13 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists per game while shooting 42% from both the field and beyond the arc. Ultimately, this rubbed off on the rest of the team. With Lonzo in the lineup, the team had a 27-13 record, the best in the entire Eastern Conference. But the Cinderella story came to an end in January 2022. Lonzo suffered a meniscus tear that initially kept him out for 3 weeks. Unfortunately, upon his return, it was discovered that the injury was worse than they thought and Lonzo would need to undergo surgery. Since then, he has suffered more injury setbacks that saw him undergo 3 surgeries and missed 2 whole seasons. It got so bad, Stephen A. claimed Lonzo was having difficulties standing up on his feet.
Stephen A., who are your sources, bro? Please tell me who your sources are. Come on, man. Come on, man. You gotta stop yapping. And I actually like you, man. I don't even know you like that, but I like you. I'm coming back, man. Come on.
This obviously created a controversy that led to a back and forth between the player and the self-proclaimed face of ESPN. But all that's in the past now, and Lonzo Ball is back to full health for the first time in almost 3 years. Earlier in March, he was cleared for non-contact sprinting, and he's been seen doing some light work on the court. More recently, he's been involved in some 5-on-5 scrimmages as he looks to return to action next season. Obviously, we know he's got quality, especially from his early days with the Pelicans, where he made a significant impact on both ends of the court. Offensively, he was the facilitator of the team, pushing pace, orchestrating the offense, and finding teammates in open spaces. And on the defensive end, he guarded multiple positions, forcing steals and turning defense into offense. So if he can fix his injury problems and get a good run of games, he could significantly help the Bulls this season. But if he improves his jump shot and somehow reclaims the form he showed in the 2020-2021 season, he could potentially become one of the top point guards in the NBA. Yeah, I know, it's a long shot, but Lonzo was the 2nd overall pick just 7 years ago. There's no doubt he's special, and hopefully he'll show it to the world as he heads into what looks like a make-or-break season for him. Of course, Lonzo isn't the only player in this boat because Brandon Podziemski is also heading into a career-defining season with the Golden State Warriors. Following Klay Thompson's exit this summer, the spotlight is now on him, and the lights are shining brighter than ever. A lot of fans will be wondering if he can follow up with an even better sophomore year, or was his rookie year just a fluke?